Well, I wanted to take some time here and talk to you about our North American Trapper Dakota series trap and snare dip. I purchased Dakotaline snares about a little over a year ago. This is one of the products that came with my purchase. I'm going to show you exactly how you use this, whether you're doing traps or snares or cables, stakes, whatever. If you do want to buy it for resale or whatever, I did get those rights and sell those rights to Keith Winkler at Sterling Furs. So get a hold of him if you want to resell it. And he's also got a couple other of the colors, the desert and the tan. But we offer the earth, which is the black. And I'm going to show you that process today. It's a very good product. It was developed over a number of years. And it's very simple process to clean your traps. You probably see the smoke in the background. I'm actually boiling my traps too. That's kind of how I grew up. But when I'm doing my snares and the cables and everything, from this point on, I'm using this trap and snare dip, which is fantastic. This is the quart size. We do offer it in the gallon. I'm going to pop a gallon here and show you exactly how we mix that. And basically, one thing that we do for the snares versus the traps, you can take a rusty trap that's been out, used, whether it's caught something, whether it hasn't caught something, make sure it works, make sure it's in good working order. I'm going to show you how to dip that. You can dip your DPs if you want. I don't dip the DPs. We just boil those. I feel that they don't need that, so I don't think you really need to do that, but if you want to dip them, you can, and they will work. Just make sure that after you dip them, you hang them up. I'm going to lay them out here once I dip them, but they're going to go in there and hang quickly. But the trap and snare dip, the Dakota series Earth trap and snare dip is going to work for you. When it comes to the traps and the snares, there is a little difference that I do and we do as the company. We just take some regular vinegar and we're going to pour that in a bucket over here. We will not use the vinegar to dip the traps in. I don't want to etch the traps any. This vinegar is not going to hurt. It's just going to etch it a little bit, and it's going to actually accept the dip quicker, and it's going to readily get in there and really color the whole thing. Do you have to do this? Absolutely not. But sometimes if you don't do this and let them dry, and I've already done it with the ones that we're going to dip. I've done it and we're going to let them dry, but I wanted to show this process from the beginning. You may have to dip them a couple times. I actually like it a little thinner. I don't like it thick and gooey. So basically, I like to do it thinner. So I'm going to take this whole gallon and I'm going to dump that right in the bucket. Now, I'm going to get all that down in there, and then you're going to do 1.5 parts of water to this gallon of dip. Now, as I said, I like to do a little bit more water, so I'm going to actually put 2 gallons of water to the 1 gallon of dip. And you'll see that. I got my hose right here, and I'm just taking the hose and getting some water in here. If you can, I don't know if you can out of your own spigot or whatever, but if you can use warm water, this will help get the rest of that dip that's in there. So we're pouring 1 in. Now that's one thing, if you're using the gallon, you don't want that to go down in there. So I got to get my hands dirty and get that out of there. That was just kind of the dry glob that was around there. But this is one cool thing about this dip. You can see my hands full of the dip. It's water soluble, and I'm just washing it in the bucket. As you can see, hand is clean. That's one really good thing about this as well. Until it dries, it will come off easily. Now, I did put a little more in there to wash my hands, so I'm not going to fill this the whole way up. I'm only going to go to about 2/3 to 3/4 there, and that will be pretty sufficient for what I'm going to want to use to dip these snares and the traps for the demonstration purposes. Now, you want to stir this up really good. You want to get it around there. and get that to where it's fully mixed. So the one good thing about this dip is it is a liquid and water-based. As you can see, there's no gas or petroleum. You don't need anything. You just dump it out and you just add water to it and it's good. Now, as you can see, half of that driver is dipped and the other half isn't, and it's something that really does a nice job. So we'll get that over here. As I said, I've already done these in the vinegar. I'll use this. I still have a bunch of snares and cables over there I want to do, but this right here, if you were to dip it in the vinegar, you're just putting it down in to where there's no bubbles, no effervescence coming up. Pull it out, let it drain off, and hang them up, and then when they're dry, they're ready to go. Same with the dip. So we're gonna dip these in. We got that submerged. We wait till there's no bubbles, and now we pick up. And I'm gonna let that drain off. Now that's one thing you can do if you have somewhere that's able to be done. You can go in and hang them right away, but I'm gonna let you know I've done that, and you're gonna have a whole trail of dye back and forth to where you're at. So try and get as much off of here. And as I said, you can use your hands because this stuff's gonna wash off. So as you can see, that accepted the dip perfectly already. And we're just gonna lay them here for demonstration on that. You can do steaks. There's a whole dozen of our talons. We get them down in there. We wait till we see no more bubbles coming out. No more bubbles. We pull up, and you can see that it drains right off. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We hang them up, and they're ready to go in the ground. Do you have to dye these? Absolutely not. But if you're dyeing everything, you might as well dye them in case maybe it doesn't go the whole way in and you have 4 inches sticking out. It's dyed, it blends in, depending. That's that. Now, one thing you can do also is do single. This is a cable restraint, Pennsylvania cable restraint with a washer lock, but you can just take the whole cable, dip that in. You don't even have to wait for that. That's gonna then drain right down the cable till it's off. And you could see that was a brand new silver cable, and now it's completely, I call it earth tone, but it's dark. It's gonna give you some blending in. It's gonna be able to be used out in the field. It's not gonna be any shiny in the moonlight, anything of that nature. That's gonna work for you. Now, as I said with the traps, same premise. I'm just not gonna dip them in vinegar. If you do get new traps, I would wash the grease off. You definitely have to do that. You have to get the grease off. You have to make sure that it accepts it. But once you go, if you go to the car wash and you spray them off, or you let them sit outside and get some rust on them, that's fine too. You know, this one right here, this one was obviously in the ground last year. It's rusty, it's got dirt, there's no clumps of dirt, but it's dirty. We can put that right in. I'm gonna actually boil this one, so I'm not gonna put it in. As I said, I don't do this to my traps, I only do it with my snares, but it does work for traps. And really, quite honestly, do I not do this with my traps because it doesn't work and boiling's better? No. Me and my father and my grandfather and my uncles, from the age that I can even remember, 4, 5, 6 years old, every year in the fall, we would come out and boil our traps, and that's why I do it. Just strictly memory. Logwood dye. We used to scrape bark off the trees. I don't take the the heritage back that far. I take the easy way out with logwood dye, but this works perfect for traps also. I only do the boiling because of the memories that I remember every year of us being out there doing that. But you're gonna see how this works. just submerge it down in. No bubbles coming out. And it comes right out. And now it drains off. And once that drains off, and when you hang these up, all that excess liquid is going to drain off. That's one other reason why I go a little bit further on the 1.5 to 1 ratio. I go to just about 2, sometimes a little under 2. I don't ever go over 2, but that extra little bit of water makes this, as opposed to a whole gallon of milk, it makes it a 2% milk. The viscosity is not as thick. It's more easy to drain off. That's one of the reasons why I do it. And quite honestly, I never have to dip them again, and I don't get a lot of dried clumps anywhere through the snares or anywhere through the trap. So you want to do that. You aren't going to boil this one. This is a number 2 Dogless Duke. And we'll throw this in where we think we have a better chance to catch a fox and a coyote. But you can see how that covers that whole trap. The chain, that's going to lock in. It's going to protect. It's going to, be scent free most times because this is unscented. And it's just a really great item to do that with. As I said, you can do your DPs. I don't do the DPs. But you just take a DP, same way, goes down in. You're gonna let that, you can see I'm not waiting long at all. I'm dipping down in, and you can do this, you can put a dozen of them on, like if you have a bigger bucket, you can fit something into, and you wanna put a couple gallons in, and put, a couple more, 3 gallons of water, 4 gallons of water, up to 4 gallons of water if you have 2, like I said. Make sure you stay within that 1.5 to not over 2 ratio, which I just showed you we do. And you can see how that coats, protects. It's gonna be better in, all those situations. So that's that. There's really not a lot else that can go into this. It's a very good product. It's something that we've not spent a lot of time on showing people how to do it, but I wanted to make it a point to show you, since we are at that time and I'm getting quite a few questions on trap preparation. You can do this dip, you can do boiling, you can do a lot of different things, but if you want a very easy way to handle this stuff, you can see that this is something that you can do, and you can see it washes right off your hands. And as I said, we have it on the website. We sell it by the quart or the gallon, the earth tone, this tone that I'm doing right here. And if you wanted to buy some wholesale or retail, you can get that and a couple other colors if you're out in the West and need something a little tanner. From Keith over at Sterling Fur. But if you have any questions, get a hold of us. Just remember, put your dip in. 1.5 to 1 is the normal ratio. That's a little thick for me. I like it a little thinner because all of it drains off and it still coats perfectly. But don't go above 2 because then it'll be too much watery in its viscosity, and you're not going to be able to really get the full effect on it. But you can see these snares have been done. They're already starting to dry, and they're pretty much ready to go and hang. And there's no clumps here, even around the lock, around the reverse bend. There's no clumps or big deposits of dye or anything that's going to hamper that lock going up and down. And it's just 1 dozen of them in the bucket, out, and hang them up, let them dry, and you're ready for the field. So we wish you the best out there this year, and if you have any need for the Dakota Series Earth Tone Dip, make sure you get on the website and check us out. Good luck.
Email us today for a free catalog to browse all of our traps and snares, baits and lures, and much more. Get all of your trapping and predation control needs by emailing to info@NorthAmericanTrapper.com for your free catalog. Proven products equals proven conservation.